Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF.
Hey, Kara Oosterhuis here with RealAgriculture.com. It's time for another Pulse School episode. We're at the time of the year where you're making the decision on whether or not to land roll your pulse crops. Ken Wall, Grow Team Advisor with FCL, joins me in this episode to talk about some of the considerations you're going to want to keep in mind when it comes to making that decision. Check out the conversation now.
All right, well, there's two reasons why you want to roll your lentils, and the one is to lower the ridges that occur from the seeding operation. Lentils are typically a fairly low-growing plant, especially red lentils, and you want to do whatever you can to get the most of the plant when you're doing the harvesting. And another consideration for rolling lentils is typically in this part of the country we have a lot of stones and a lot of rocks, and the rolling operation will push them into the ground, and then they're not an issue when you're harvesting.
So what are some of the reasons you maybe don't want to roll your crop? What's the consideration there?
So there's, ideally you want to roll your lentils right after seeding, especially before crop emergence. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes you're finished seeding and you get a rain right after, and your soil is extremely wet. A rolling operation at that time can cause excessive packing and maybe even some crusting and not allow your lentils to emerge. Another reason why you maybe wouldn't roll right after seeding is it's too dry. And maybe if you've got light textured or sandy soils, and the rolling operation can pulverize some of your protective stubble and pulverize some of the larger clods on your field, and you end up with land blowing and erosion issues that could happen. So those are two of the reasons why you wouldn't roll maybe right after. So then the issue is, well, when do we roll? You can wait till after the crop has emerged. Again, you don't want to roll just before the crop emerges or when the lentils are right at the process of ground crack or breaking the ground, because the packing at that time of the roller can definitely cause some issues, and mechanical damage can occur. Once they've emerged, you can actually roll them up to about the 5-leaf stage or 7-node stage. So you have a window that you can do that with. However, I'd probably wait until the warm part of the day when the lentils are maybe a little bit flaccid or a little bit limp, and less damage will occur. Another thing I would probably consider is don't roll when the crop is wet or when the plants are wet, because you could actually cause spreading of disease, and especially ascochyta and those kind of diseases that are around early with the crop. Chickpeas is probably even more important. Once the crop is up, they're a little bit more brittle, and you can cause more damage, but because of the disease issue, I probably wouldn't roll the chickpeas, or try not to roll chickpeas after they've emerged.
So disease-wise, is it just a concern because of spreading, or does the compaction actually cause any disease issues?
Well, it's two things. If you do any damage at all to the lentil plant or the pulse, you can definitely cause areas of the plant where disease can enter the plant, and so that's an issue. And also spreading just from the rollers passing over the wet crop, you can definitely cause spreading of the disease that way. If you're faced with the decision, should I roll my crop? Because after you roll it, you should probably wait 3 or 4 days for sure before you apply the herbicide. Rolling in itself is quite a stressful event, so you should wait 3 or 4 days, and if that means that your crop is going to be staged out or out of stage for applying the herbicide, I'd probably forego the rolling, and then I would just apply the herbicide, because applying the herbicide at a young stage always trumps rolling, so in terms of yield loss. So that's something that I would consider.